We're going to continue our coverage now of Proposition 139. We're going to go to the folks who put this on the ballot. Jade Cunningham is joining us now with the group there of Proposition 139. How are they taking these early results coming in, Jade?
Well, I can tell you that people here are watching the results with a very sharp eye. They are just waiting very intently to see what the final results will be tonight. We are here at Dobert, where, again, many of the supporters are gathering here from Proposition 139. There's a lot of excitement here. People are talking with one another, again, just waiting to see what the outcome will be. Joining me now, we have Chris Love. She is a huge supporter of Proposition 139. How are you feeling tonight?
We're confident, but we're not taking anything for granted. We're going to wait until every vote is counted, and we're really excited. And it sounds like we've got some results, and they're positive. So
yes, the results are kind of being updated slowly, but yes, some good news here for you guys. Tell me about the journey of what it's been like for you to get to this point with Proposition 139.
it has been 2 years, right? We started by me putting some names on the back of a napkin and deciding who was going to run this effort. And now to come here today, and after 2 years, it feels glorious to finally be finished. But more importantly, it feels wonderful to do the thing that Arizonans need, and that's to protect abortion rights in our Constitution.
And tell me about Proposition 139 and what it really means for women and for people.
Well, it means that they will have that fundamental right to abortion. That means that pregnant patients will be able to consult with their medical providers, and the politicians and the government will remain outside of the calculus.
There are some who obviously oppose the Proposition 139. They say that it poses a big safety risk for those who are pregnant. What would you say to those who maybe just aren't quite on board with this proposition?
Well, I would say that no matter how they personally feel about abortion, I think we can all agree that those decisions need to remain between the pregnant patient and their medical provider, and not with government. And quite frankly, I think that the current ban that we have in place doesn't provide protections for victims of rape or incest, or people experiencing serious pregnancy complications after 15 weeks. And so by enshrining this right in the state constitution, we're guaranteeing that right, and the legislature can't come back and pass anything that is stricter than what we have right now.
I want to go back to that moment earlier this summer where you guys were gathering all those signatures. Tell me about that process. I mean, it probably initially seemed quite daunting, but you guys came out with quite a number of signatures.
Right, and so our goal was always to collect about double the amount that we needed as a show of strength, quite frankly. And we did that and then some, and made Arizona history. We also made history by, raising the most money and, having the most volunteers and knocking 1.7 million doors. And so what you're seeing now is the culmination of all of that work, and I couldn't be more proud.
To see the support here tonight, to see this gathering here behind Proposition 139, what does that mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot to me as someone who's been working on reproductive rights and sexual health issues for the past decade. I very personally have shared my own abortion story, where I chose abortion, and I also had abortions as miscarriage management. And so I'm really happy today that we're going to win the right for my 10-year-old daughter, right? And preserve that right so that she has options that she needs to determine if, when, and how she creates her family.
Do you think the term abortion has this negative connotation behind it? I mean, how do you look at abortion?
I don't think so, but, I think that we are a society that's steeped in abortion stigma. Abortion is simply healthcare and a fact of life for a number of women and pregnant people in this country. And so we need to recognize that and destigmatize abortion. It is simply necessary healthcare.
I'm sure you're going to be paying close attention to the results as they become official. Any parting words tonight? Anything you just really want people to know about this?
I really want to thank the people of Arizona for being so supportive of us for the entirety of this campaign. I want to thank all of our volunteers and our staff and everyone who really showed up and showed out for us from the beginning of early voting until now. And we're confident that we're going to carry this Arizona.
Chris Love, thank you so much for joining us tonight and speaking with us. Guys, we are going to be paying very close attention to these results, waiting for them to become official, and we will be keeping track of them, so we're going to send it back to you guys first.
All right, Jade, thank you so much.
Another race we're following closely is the race for Maricopa County Sheriff. Chase Golightly is standing by right now with the Republican in the race, Jerry Sheridan. Chase?
That's right, Mark, and with that initial ballot results coming out, it has Mr. Sheridan with a little bit of a lead. Sir, how do you feel initial results coming in? We know that it's going to be a long night, but how are you feeling right now?
Well, I think you're right about being a long night. Cautiously optimistic. You know, it's better than being down about 3%, being up 3%.
And then, as we were talking earlier, you were saying cautiously optimistic, but did you anticipate that this is kind of be the way it would go?
Yeah, Maricopa County is a huge county, and a lot of diverse voters and independents play a big role, and Republicans and Democrats. So, yeah, you know, I expect it to be close.
And then, as we were also talking about earlier, is that if elected, there's several issues currently with the sheriff's office. We were talking about a dramatic number of inmate deaths. We were talking about employee retention, trying to bring in employees, and of course, the federal monitor that's currently ongoing. Can you just tell me, again, if elected, which issue are you going to try to go after first?
Well, I think the number one issue for the sheriff should be the inmate deaths. They took 3 to the emergency room today, and 2 are on life support right now from what I heard. And this is just today. So this is the biggest issue. People's lives are at stake in that jail system. Something needs to be done. I know what to do. I have a plan to get it done, but I have to get there first.
And then also, 40-year career with MCSO. You said that you served under 4 different sheriffs. Of course, you were also chief deputy with former Sheriff Joe Arpaio. You were saying that you're trying to step away with that, showing that you're not Joe Arpaio's right-hand man, you are Jerry Sheridan. How are you going to show voters that you are going to differentiate yourself from Joe Arpaio?
Well, I think that's going to be relatively easy, because when the sheriff is focused on doing things to keep the people of this county safe, they will see that, and they'll see that quickly.
And then just another thing that I did want to bring up, I believe it was earlier this week, there was a rally. I believe it was a county supervisor that did speak out against you, saying if we were elected, it would bring the county backward. Your views on that?
Well, he had 2 very big activists in the Hispanic community that don't like me because I worked for my former boss. And once again, my goal is to turn them around. It might take a while to turn them around, but once they see what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and it's all about public safety. And again, you know, the town of Guadalupe contracts with the sheriff for their law enforcement. I've been down there 3 times already, and one of the people on the council told me, you know what, Jerry, you've been here 2 more times than Penzone was his entire regime as 7 years as the sheriff. So I will work very closely with them. They know that. I know a lot of the people in that town support me. Matter of fact, they asked me to put my big campaign signs in town. And I checked on them today, and they're still up there. They've been up there about a month, and nobody's messed with them. So, again, that's another good indication. What they want is what I think most people want is a sheriff that's focused on doing their job, enforcing the rule of law, protecting people's civil rights, and keeping them safe. And that's what I'm all about. The rest is just noise from my opponent.
You brought up former Sheriff Paul Penzone, who we know stepped down from his role in the sheriff position. He was saying that it was that federal monitor. He felt like he was working as sheriff with one arm behind his back, that he wasn't able to accomplish what he wanted to within the sheriff's office because of that federal monitor. Once you go in, we know that's going to be a big aspect of this. How are you going to handle that situation if elected?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is not mention him anymore. Okay? Because it's gone, you can't change history, and I'm going to move forward. And again, spending 40 years there gives me a benefit that nobody else has, and that is I know how the sheriff's office operates. I know how it works. I know where the things that need to be fixed are, and I can do that from the day I get there.
Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us here. We'll check in with you.
Stay tuned, right? We'll see how it goes the rest of the night. Thank you,
sir. Thank you so much for your time here tonight. Again, we're in far north Scottsdale at the watch party for GOP candidate Jerry Sheridan. Also speaking with him, you heard him mention former Sheriff Joe Arpaio that he worked under. He was Sheriff Joe's right-hand man. I did ask him if Sheriff Joe was coming out here tonight, or if he did give his endorsement, he said no, that was not the case. Again, he is trying to step away with that and come into his own as sheriff if elected, just making his own rules and decisions in regards to that matter. Of course, we'll stay out here as those ballots continue to drop, and we'll try to speak with Mr. Sheridan here in a little bit. But for right now, we'll go ahead and send it back to you guys in studio.
All right, Chase, thank you so much.